Now, a war of words has broken out between companies who provide broadband internet to people living in East Yorkshire. The local MP, David Davis, has intervened too, just as one of the new providers says that they are considering a complaint against KCOM to the industry watchdog over claims that they won't share their underground infrastructure. KCOM dispute that and accuses MS3 of choosing to use cheap telegraph poles instead to save money. Well, firstly tonight, Lizzie Rose reports from Brough, which looks like being the next place to get more poles.
More poles, bringing competition to the East Yorkshire telecoms market and bringing out angry residents. As new providers arrive in places like Heddon, Cottingham, Ticton and across Hull.
Well, as we've seen in so many parts of this region, people in Brough are finding signs like these telling them that alternative broadband providers are going to be putting up telegraph poles here. That's alongside the existing KCOM poles, and other providers could come in too. And like we're seeing in Cottingham and in Heddon, while some people welcome the competition, others say more poles is too much.
I think it's wrong. It is completely wrong. They don't need to put the poles up. The infrastructure is already there.
My husband is completely blind, so it's going to be very difficult when they dig up all the pavements.
Absolutely ridiculous. What's the point?
Are you bothered about internet providers coming in and putting telegraph poles on?
Certainly not.
So you think it is time that we had a bit of competition when it comes to internet?
Yes, I really do. Yeah, you know, can get all these all-in deals. You know, telephone, tablets.
This area is unique. It's always had its own telecoms provider in KCOM. It has its own infrastructure. So why aren't competitors using it?
We have 9 applications in Hull to share infrastructure with KCOM. One application to put equipment on one pole has been going on for more than a year.
So they say KCOM is making it costly and it takes too long. MS3 is now talking about its concerns to Ofcom, the industry regulator. But KCOM has hit back, saying where other providers are installing unwanted telegraph poles, it is entirely a commercial decision on their part. They are then erroneously blaming KCOM for any distress they are causing local communities. Halton Price and Howden MP David Davis says he's keen to see any investigation done quickly. And in Brough, there's hope providers will reach an agreement.
I'm hoping that everybody will come together and that cooler heads will prevail, that we have pipes underground, and even if we do need poles in some areas, we only need one set of poles, and only then as a last resort, not a first port of call.
Well, Lizzie Rose reporting there. That's the situation in Brough. I mean, there's so much interest in this story and people are still contacting me about it. And this morning, when I was out, I bumped into Lance from East Hull, who told me what's happened with a pole put up outside his dad's house.
Well, they put the poles up from the Wi-Fi outside my father's house on the Greatfield Estate, 15 inches away from his front gate. He's partially blind. He's 86 years of age, he's having panic attacks for it, he thinks he's going to fall in his house. I've been in touch with the people who put it in, connects in. They went down and had a look and admitted it is definitely in the wrong place. But they said there's nothing they can do about it. But my father watches your programme and he said, watch that, you can get in touch with Peter Levy on that, about the pole. You can't stay there, it's impossible.
That's Lance, who I met this morning when I went to the shop. Well, this afternoon I spoke to Hugh Davies from Connexin about the pole outside of his dad's house. What about this particular gentleman who I met this morning? Can I ask you, I mean, you know, his dad is 86 blind, got a pole right outside his front door. Can I ask you, will you take that pole down? Will you remove it?
We have had a look at the pole. We've had teams go out and check everything. It's a pole that's needed to serve that community, and it's been put up well and we believe in a safe location.
So that's a no then, is it, on removing it? I'm just interested because obviously Lance and his dad will be watching.
Yeah, no. So I think Lance, the team have spoken with you, and apologies. Yes, that pole I think will stay.
Okay.
We'd love to work with you to make sure that your dad is able to to work around it.
There is a difference of opinion, isn't there, between you, the providers, and KCOM. They say that providers have chosen a cheaper path to go down. Would you agree with that?
I think the path we've chosen to go down is the one that we believe is the best to bring the services that everyone wants for broadband. So faster, cheaper broadband for communities that have said something like 70 to 80% of people in Hull have said they want that service.
Yeah.
In the rest of the country, you can approach Openreach, who used to be part of BT, and you can ask to use their ducts and their poles.
Okay, well, let me ask you, this is important. Have KCOM been as helpful, as open, as reasonable on price so that you can share their infrastructure, or have they made it for new entrants facing obstacle after obstacle? What is the answer?
It's closer to the latter. I think we understand KCOM have got they're a business and they need to protect their profitability and their position in the market. But if you compare, KCOM have now been deemed to have what's called significant market power, so they have a strength in the market where they are able to control price and access. We would say they could do better.
Okay, in a one-word answer, have they been helpful? Yes or no? Because David Davis, the MP, wants them to be helpful and has been critical. He also says neighbourhoods are being littered with unsightly mess of street furniture at the moment. There is a squabble now going on between providers and KCOM.
There is, and we're trying to fix that. We are talking to each other.
Are you talking to? What about Ofcom?
Well, we're always in. We have open dialogue with Ofcom. Ofcom are being supportive in trying to help get this resolved, and it's after all, it's their regulation that runs the whole telecoms world. So no, we are talking to Ofcom, and we've asked KCOM to give us a clearer indication on access and prices.
The whole thing is a mess, isn't it? It's an absolute mess. You're all fighting like rats in a sack now.
I wouldn't say it doesn't feel like a mess. It feels like we can do better, and I think what's great is that residents are feeding into the political world. Both the City Council in Hull and the councils in the East Riding are working with us to try and improve things. But it's there is work to be done.
Okay, final question. Thank you for your time. Final question. KCOM will be watching this tonight.
Yep.
You can be sure of that.
Yep.
What do you say to them now?
Well, we just look forward to having some clear and open discussions and getting an agreement on infrastructure sharing, which is what we believe is necessary and is supported by the current regulation. So we look forward to resolving that and making life easier for the people of Hull and the East Riding, because nobody wants duplicate infrastructure where it's not needed.
Mr. Davies, very good to talk to you tonight. Thank you very much indeed for your time. Most grateful.
Thank you.
Well, there we are. That is the view of Connexin. I spoke to MS3 a couple of weeks ago on the programme. You'll remember. That just leaves KCOM, who have today again refused to do an interview with us. If one of the KCOM bosses is watching tonight, and I'm sure that they are, we would love to talk to you. It's not too late. If you want to get in touch with us, you can come in and have a chat. Now, your views on this one, it's not too late to give you views as well. How do we get these companies working together? Would you be bothered about more telegraph poles outside your house? You know the story. Here's how to get in touch. The email address is there, looknorth@bbc.co.uk. Text number 81333, 81333. Start the text with the word Look North, or follow me on Twitter and tweet now. We'll have some at the end of the programme and tomorrow night. As I say, huge interest in this at the moment.